1978년도에서부터 뮌헨 대학 기계공학에서 디플롬을 하셨습니다. 근데 헤스 씨는 그 전에 이미 먼저 군대를 들어가셔서 이 뮌헨 대학에서 공부하는 것은 군인 신분으로 공부를 해서 4년 만에 마치시고, 그 다음에 군대에 가서 복무를 하시다가 1989년도에 보쉬 그룹에 입사를 하셨습니다. 89년부터 지금까지니까 벌써 몇 년이죠? 25년을 계속 보쉬에 근무를 하고 계시고, 지난주에 연사하신 분도 26년간을 한 회사에서 근무하셨고 하니까 그런 좀 특징이 있을 겁니다. 그래서 보쉬에서는 어플리케이션 팀장 하시고, 그다음에 ABS 개발 프로젝트 매니저 하시고, 영업 담당 부사장, 수석 부사장, 그다음에 마케팅 담당 수석 부사장, 그다음에 전체 수석 부사장을 하시고, 2010년부터 현재까지 한국 로버트 보쉬의 사장 및 이사회 의장으로 재직을 하고 계십니다. 그래서 오늘 말씀드릴 제목은 대변형의 시대, 미래를 주도하라. 아마 젊은 학생들한테 굉장히 유익한 그런 내용이 되겠습니다. So, please, you can start now. 박수로.
So, does this work as well? No, this one works. Yeah, I like to run around this with you. Perfect. Yeah, put it somewhere. You can hear me? Annyeonghaseyo again. Unfortunately, I have to do it in English. Well, it's a shame as I'm 4 years in Korea already. Should be fluent in Korean, I know. But it does not work for an old man like me so easily with languages. It's a big pleasure for me to be here. I know KAIST a bit, I have to say, as we do some cooperation as well, where I very much hope we can even extend that in the future. But for me, it's a great pleasure to have such an audience. I saw outside already what prestigious speakers you will have. So how can I say? I have to give all my effort in this crew. Even Vice Chairman R&D Hyundai, Dr. Yang, I know him very well, will speak here in a couple of weeks. So I can just prepare the floor, I hope. But what I like to do, and I don't want to sell you too much advertising about the company, it's more about telling about this exciting innovation speed we have now in our industry, what 10 years ago I did not expect, I have to say. And we will have a look a bit what all happens, so that one or the other could decide to work later in such an area, I hope. And especially females should think about, as we are so much underrepresented with female managers in our company, and I think the whole industry is. Before we start, let me do something else. What I just learned I have done 2 years ago as well when I was here. You forgot it completely, right? As you know, me a bit older, if I look back when I was sitting here in such a seat some time ago, on my way I met some very interesting people. And one was a guy when we had the time, automotive industry is with quite high, let me say, profit pressure. So behavior of some of our customers, of course not Hyundai when Dr. Yang will ask in 2 weeks' time, but we have customers really putting high pressure in the system. Such a high pressure that as a salesman or an engineer of a supplier, you are in high psychological stress very often. And so we had a nice seminar, and that was a very wise guy, I think 20 years ago, who did some exercise with us. And I would like to do one of these small exercises with you. As at the beginning of a career, where you are standing, where you have to decide what to do, where to go in a couple of years, you should never forget the big picture. As I see it with many people, likewise with myself, with many people that you go into this, you know, industry or wherever you go, machine, and you forget out of sight what you really want to achieve in your life. As if you decide to have a hierarchical career, and I know that is in Korea a thing many people want to have, as higher as better, driving in the black Echos with a driver when you arrive at the Schiller, something like that. But you always give up other things, you know. That must be somewhere clear. So if you go in one direction, you will miss some other things. And I have here a nice tool with me. Very manual, not digital. This is just showing us 1 meter, 100 centimeters we have here on this old wooden style meter. And if we now assume every centimeter would be 1 living year, yeah? So 100 years, then the good message is most of you will get there. Young generation. I mean, we here at the front beside you, yeah, we might have some problems to go up to 100, yeah? But the younger generation, Korea, high living standard, you have a very good chance. Problem is, you have no guarantee. Yeah, that means even your theoretical chance is much higher than mine. It always can be finished tomorrow for all of us. So but now we assume it is 100. And now I have just to ask somebody here if we start here. I mean, I would not ask a lady, yeah? You cannot show us where you are on this scale, yeah? But we will start first year and go upwards. Where roughly are you now? Roughly. Okay. We will not show exactly. So this looks quite good, right? But even you in your young age, it's already quite something gone as well, right? And so one very important thing, what I learned from this guy at that time, and I would like to do that with you, is just when you wake up in the morning, it should be very clear to you, what do I want to have achieved when this year ends, you know? And you should never say, I do it when I'm 30, I do it when I'm 40, I do it when I'm 50. Then you will never do it. That means advice I can give is really have the most important things, yeah? And that can be many things. That can be the black Echos, sitting not on the driver's seat, but in the back. But that can be a happy family, a strong family. That can be just money. That can be helping others, whatever your goals are. And so I would just invite you, most might have done such things, or have it very clear. If you write it down for yourself, the most important 3 things you want to have achieved when the scale ends here. Please, and I shut up for 1 minute. Already good enough to me. I just, if you don't want to do it here, yeah, and others look at your paper or whatever, give it a try tonight or tomorrow. And what is true as well, what I saw in my life, if something is very highly important to you, then think about it from time to time. Just in the morning when you wake up, as usually, you know, your life goes in this direction. What you really want to go for, if you visualize. So my question I then usually have, we have here this 100 years, Any smoker? Raise your hand. We have smokers. Here's a brave guy. So look for you. It's like this in the average, okay? Take this into account. You will miss 10 years. Okay, coming from this, and I'm a salesman. That is my problem, sales and marketing. So I always talk too much. Yeah? I try very, very hard, and Ms. Lee should push me a bit to go through in a time that we can have some questions. As I would love to have a bit of discussion about leadership, if you want, or about whatever. Yeah. Coming to Bosch, historical German company. I will come a bit to the roots. But what you see here is not the car we want to build, but it just stands for, let me say, this very exciting time we are in regarding individual mobility. So we had over 100 years, we had, of course, innovation in the car industry, automotive industry, but what we see just now is incredible. The speed where it goes in direction electrification, so old combustion engine, will see its end in the next 20, 25 years. We see connection, so being not connected, everything inside of the car, but to the outside world as well. And we see automated driving coming very, very fast. And I will talk a bit about what we are doing, where our automated driving cars are running today. Okay, do I have somewhere? You have, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's not me in my younger years. Not my grandpa, this is the founder of the company. And I show him as we are very, very proud on him. I know there are Korean companies as well keeping a founder very high, but he was an extraordinary person in his time. Born 20 years before, so in 1886 he opened already a workshop. And he was, let me say, not just positive, not just a positive figure. He was known to be very stubborn, for instance. As he is born in the south of Germany, where I'm born, I can admit this is true. Yeah? Very stubborn guy, but with very high principles. And when we had and we always try in the company to still follow his values. Yeah, you could say, well, over 100 years ago, is this not a bit old-fashioned? But we think that from an ethical, moral standard, this is the right way to do business. So he said over 100 years ago, always acted, I would rather lose money than trust. Now think about the financial industry and what we saw in 2008. Who would say such a thing? Financial industries. I hope they are on a way to improve now. Our integrity of my promises, belief in the value of my products, and in my word of honor always had a bigger priority to me than a transitory profit. And we have many of these nice sayings. And now, so much time later, our CEO still, and I think most of the company, is very much linked to his values. Where we are, I should not say proud, but where we really very much try to live in his way. And sometimes this really means you lose money. Yeah, absolutely clear. You cannot take any business chance if you follow this. So we have, especially in countries where you have big corruption problems, very difficult to do business, yeah, following such an advice. Okay? I come now, I mean, just to be a genius as he was, I think, he was especially brilliant in doing these blue ocean products, where you had more or less technologies that are invented already, but you put it together to something new, yeah, as Apple did with the iPhone, for instance, or many other examples. So he was not an inventor with completely new breakthrough chemical or whatever, but he was always clever enough to find the right people that put known things together and develop something new. And that was a breakthrough for the company and why we exist today, I would say. The magnetic ignition. This was, I think, Benz here. So they had with the first cars a big problem when the combustion engine was more or less saw a breakthrough, how to ignite. How to ignite. And they used open fire at the beginning, gas fire. What is a bit dangerous, yeah, is one problem. So every fifth car was burning down just, yeah. And you could not have a high-speed engines with such a manual gas fire ignition. And he more or less had the idea, and this principle existed already for stationary combustion engines, but he had the idea to minimize this all, to bring it to a size and a weight that you can build it in a car, and to create this spark. And in connection then with the spark plug, you could ignite the engine. And Ford just started here with Tin Lizzy, yeah, in the US. You know, Tin Lizzy, you can have any color of our car you want, as long as it is black. Yeah, that was Ford at that time. And they had big volumes of this car, and Bosch came in with this Magneto, we say. And then there were first racing as well, as old as the cars are. Yeah, there were then the drivers and the races. And very soon they saw that this is absolutely superior against all other ignition type. And that was then boosting the Bosch business at that time. So over 90% of our turnover, even being a German company, was in the US at that time. Okay? That's our group today. I mean, still a small company if you compare with Samsung, yeah? But on a worldwide scale overall, it's not too bad. So this 46 billion euro sales we had in 2013 with, now very close to 300,000 employees worldwide. The biggest part is, and this is a bit a headache for us, yeah, is automotive. As you will see, we follow a strategy. We say we minimize the risk. We don't want to work just in one business segment. And when you see the cycle, down, up, down, that's hurting you then very much. So we want to have a bit of balance. So if we look at the automotive technology, 30 billion, 66% of sales, and we try now 50 years to bring this down to a 50%, does just not work. One thing is we are quite successful in automotive, so that is one side, and we failed with one of our businesses, non-automotive, I have to say. So the last big collapse we saw where we did a wrong decision was renewable energy photovoltaics. We went big into photovoltaics and learned a bit too late that China is acting strategically. And as a company against China does not work too well. So for a certain time we kept it alive. We had, we're one of the biggest producers. We lost about 3 billion euros in 3 years in this area, and then we had to step out. So we need a new approach here. But what we have is additionally industrial technology. That is, for instance, if you see Doosan is one of our main customers here, where we do mobile hydraulics, yeah, to act here, these diggers and such kind of things. We are in shipbuilding with these hydraulic pumps. We do a bit rotating machines and such kind of things. We do a bit wind energy here, the transmission. Building technology, where we see really a good growth in the future, I would say. That means these energy efficient houses are discussed in Korea as well, where we have a lot of things inside the house, thermotechnology, for instance, sensors and such kind of things. And then we have the pure consumer goods, and you see one here, the power tools. Here we are world market leader. So complete different business, and we discussed just with your professors. So lawnmowers and such gardening things are in there as well. And you won't believe that is highly innovative, or let me say that's our strategy to compete against the low-cost Chinese. Yeah, I mean they have a fraction of our cost, but we bring very fast new innovations onto the market. That is our strategy to compete here. So 60% of all the products we have here are just 2 years old. And we go, of course, via internet and searching new ideas. Students help us with new ideas, such kind of things. So a 10% energy and building and just a 9% the consumer goods. What we have here in as well is a joint venture with Siemens, where we do as Samsung, LG, white goods, dishwasher, washing machine, such kind of things. Okay. If we look at success factors, where I want to briefly talk about why do we, or what is the reasons that we still exist after 127 years, and what do we try to keep us alive, as of course it is a world where you have to fight very hard for your existence, and if you want to grow what we want to grow about 8% per year. You need in some areas to be better than your competition. Otherwise, that will not work with all the new global competition we have. I just briefly will talk about 3 of these all. So the independence, financial strengths, as this is a bit different as many competitors we have. The innovation, that is, I would say, a core for us to stay ahead, and the strategic approach. We start with the financial strengths, independence. So this is where you saw this old man. That was where he was living at that time. Even he didn't want this big house, but they forced him more or less to show to the outside the importance. Why do we show that? When this Robert Bosch, before he passed away in the 40s, he decided not to give the company to his family. What is, I know, in Korea, nearly unthinkable, right? You want to have a son, and the son leads the company, and the next son. And he was quite convinced, he had a son, but he was quite convinced that the company get lost in a third generation very often, or in a fourth or fifth. So he wanted best management to lead the company, and not just a son, who can be a good leader and manager, can be, that's clear. But very often, if you grow up with a high living standard already, you don't have this aggressivity and this drive to bring this company forward. And so as he was, how can I say, a philanthrope on the other hand, he gave many of his money to charity in his time. He decided that Bosch should become a foundation. And not a foundation for tax reasons, a real foundation, where all the money is reinvested into the company or goes to charity worldwide. And that is what we do. And I have to say, for me, that was one reason to go to Bosch. Yeah, nothing against the American shareholder value driven approach, but I didn't want to have these super rich people already getting the money out of the company. So we have many associates of us are highly motivated by the model. We give the money back to society. Okay. Oh, I missed a bit with financial independence. Huh? So this is more or less, it's a foundation. And what we principally don't have, we have some minor shareholder of the family. So he cared about his family, of course, yeah, but that is not very much. And till today, our business model is running in a way that we could have the cash flow we need for all our financing. So we don't have any shareholders outside of a big family, and we don't need banks, more or less. So we are in this wonderful situation, till today at least, you never know what the future will bring, that banks, we just invite some big banks due to relation, you know, to see us for a coffee. But as of now, we are completely financially independent. And that is high on the list of our CEOs, to keep this, not to become dependent from financial industries. Many American companies would say, completely stupid. Yeah, I know that. But for us, it's working quite well the last 125 years. And why are we financially independent till today has very much to do with the second one, innovation. So if we come to this, and these figures are nice, but you can imagine to afford such a number of research and development, you really need to have good business worldwide. So Europe, as that was or is our home base, around Germany, still most of the R&D, with 25,000 people in 58 location. In Americas 11, North and South 2,500. In Asia, strong growing, that is clear. So 24 locations, 15,000 associates. We have quite some in Korea as well, but of course is China dominant here. So we have now about 40,000 people in China. Will now very fast go up to 60,000. What we can say is, and that is attractive for many people as well, we are a very global acting company. Yeah, that means nearly every country. I think we are in 120 countries or something. Nearly everywhere. We are just now focusing a bit later, I have to say, Africa. This is for a European company principally a shame. Yeah, Africa is quite close. There are languages spoken we know, French, English, whatever. And we principally let the Chinese, the last 20 years, just do all the business area. So Africa is now high on our list as well. Even there is a lot to do to improve people's life there. That is just cars. Coming back to our 66% turnover, I think principally there should not be one car that has not any piece in it from ourselves. And I do not know if you know the car industry, but you know the OEMs, the producers, they are not doing the innovation. But you can read that in newspapers. This is tier ones, yeah. Companies as Denso in Japan, Continental Europe, Delphi US, or Bosch. We do all the fancy stuff, yeah. The car manufacturers, they just weld a bit the steel around. So tell Dr. Young when he's here, yeah, that he's not doing innovation. Don't tell him my name that I said it, okay? Yeah, we are quite proud on that. That principally even smaller volume cars, Aston Martin or Ferrari or all these nice cars, we are in everywhere. In Tesla or in the Google car now, that's principally all cars. And that is a big advantage we have in comparison to BMW or Mercedes or GM or Hyundai. We see the whole world all the time, you know. That means our marketing, the strategic guys, they see any trend in the North America, South America, Asia, wherever it is. And that brings us in an advantage regarding where does the innovation go. Okay? That is just, I don't go into everything here. We talked already about this ignition. And that were then many things where we were pioneers. Very proud we are on this one, as this is now today responsible that we have a quiet, good air in Seoul, for instance. Yeah. So this electronic injection and management system, engine management systems, that we brought in end of the 60s. Germany was in a devastating environmental circumstance there. So Germany, and I really remember that time, mid of 70s, the forests were dying in Germany. And that was caused by the sulfur of the car emissions. So with, together with water, when it was raining, it was causing so-called sour rain, we called it. And in the mountains beginning, the forests died. And with this closed loop engine management, and the Lambda sensor is one of the key enablers, we could bring down the emission, I would say, it's at 3-4% to what it was at that time. A big but we have still problems. I mean, that is clear as well. CO2 is now the discussion. That is a different animal, and some others. But this really enabled, I would say, this mass production of cars, and that the environment somewhere that we could find a balance. Very important for us was, as we were worldwide the first as well here with this anti-lock braking system, and now it's further developed to the electronic stability control. Saved, I don't know, 50 or 100,000 lives already, I think. But you might know the system. I don't go in too much. As I mentioned, this electronic stability controller program, I have to mention, as I was working here as a system engineer, a very, very nice system, I have to say. And this system more or less is the basis that today in your smartphone, when you turn it around, the picture turns, you know. As we were forced at that time to introduce a so-called yaw rate sensor that is sensing the yaw rate, the turning of the car. And this was only possible in fighter jets and planes at that time, mechanical system. and we were forced to bring a much smaller electric solution, but was much too expensive. I remember when we introduced this system end of the 90s, one sensor was about 100 euros or something, yeah? So you cannot live with that. And that was driving us to the micro machine sensors, MEMS. What we did then at that time, and then from the car we went into the consumer electronics. And today many of those sensors, unfortunately we have some competition still in this area as well. But most of the sensors in the phones are meanwhile worldwide from us here. We are the largest supplier of this microsensors. All the rest you just see here, that was not a Bosch invention. I mean, we did some hybrid in the 70s already, but of course the breakthrough was done by Toyota here in the hybrid technology and in the marketing. Okay. We come a bit to the strategic things, yeah. And I told already, the basis of all we do and where we go is that we see worldwide the markets, that we have with our top customers many discussions, what to do, how to solve problems. We have a lot of legislation, since many scientists believe that CO2 is one of the gases that cause the climate heating, the climate catastrophe. So legislation has a big impact. But we have other things as well, as comfort, what people want to do. And here you just see development, and that is going faster and faster to new systems. Next one. Okay. So what we see is now rapidly coming is that safety systems develop in automatic generations, and that at the end of it will be the automated driving. But we come to this then in detail. What we have on the road now are this lane assist, you might know already, speed assists already a couple of years old, and very soon we will have now this pedestrian protection. Important system for Korea as well, I would say, if I'm a pedestrian in Korea. This is a dangerous life, I tell you. Okay. So you see, my marketing specialist is always telling me the car here is much more intelligent than the car here. Yeah. So if you were sitting here at that time and you are fully drunken, you still had some chance that the horses will find the way home, right? This is, with this car, very difficult. Or if you fell asleep in both versions. But what we see now is the new world that is coming, where the car will do much more in the near future than today. Okay. So that is principally what I was talking about, automated driving. And I don't want to go in all these details, but we are somewhere here now. That means highway pilot we can technically do in a couple of years. As highway is, of course, much easier to deal for the car, for the intelligence of the car, than somewhere in the city. And then at the end, we will have the fully automated driving. We were shocked as a company when Google brought out the first car, fully automated driving, in California. As we, and that is this engineering thinking, we thought no state will allow such a thing. Yeah, what happens if there is an accident? You have to change the complete legislation. If a robot would kill somebody, who will pay? Who is guilty? How to deal with that? But then we learned, yeah, Google could convince California to get the allowance, and we were really shocked. And for us, a big question is, I mean, Google is a giant, yeah, and has access to the big data, as we all know. At the beginning, we had a big discussion, what is the intention of Google? What do they want to do with automated driving? Yeah? Do they really want to go into the car industry? And that's not clear to me since today, yeah? But very soon people said, well, Google's business model is have people in the internet. Every minute is money if they go via the Google search engine. And there is not very much you can do more, or how to spend more time. But if the car would drive automatically, in a city like Seoul or Tokyo, then you would just win a more 2-3 hours where the driver could log in into the internet. That was our assumption. Today we are not sure whether there will not be a Google car. So if you wait a bit, you might possibly buy a fancy Google car driving you automatically. And then I think a lousy car, yeah, but very well connected. We will see. So we do not really know. And I have to say, you know, a company as us, we don't care too much. I mean, such scenarios are a threat for the car manufacturers, that is clear. Or Tesla, if you heard about, who is doing some disruptive technologies in electrical driving, that is a risk for the big car manufacturers. It is not for us, as we sell to Google as well or to Tesla. Okay, here we see now our car. That's an older model. I mean, today all the sensors, very impressive sensor, yeah, as you know from Google. That's all integrated meanwhile. But we started then, of course, very early to catch up. We have now several cars running in California as well as we are in Palo Alto, working with Stanford there. But in Germany as well, to our surprise. So we got an allowance to run automated driving cars in Germany. We think technology is ready, not just ours, overall end of the decade. Then the only question is, what will the countries do? So this legislation question is still not answered. What we know is, and that is exciting, yeah, if you drive fully automated, you bring down the accidents by 90%. So most is human failure. Only 10% would remain. But how to deal with this 10% if a robot crashes human being or as a robot with people in the car, that has to be solved by politicians and legislation. We have a small video clip here, I think. Show a bit.
Imagine yourself getting into your vehicle in the morning and you just press the button and say, "Take me to work."
This is really like science fiction. It's the future that we're working on.
First time you drive in a car and it drives on its own, it's a very special situation.
I'm driving the car myself now. As soon as I want to switch to automated mode, I press this button. Now the car is driving itself. Anytime I feel I want to take the control, I gently touch the steering wheel. Immediately I have the car.
The first thing is that the vehicle has eyes.
To see 360 degrees surround view.
It knows where it is located from a map which it receives from a cloud-based server.
So we basically take information from sensors and we integrate them all into a common map where we can determine if there's a car next to us or if there's a car to the side of us. Then using this information, we basically plan a route through that area, which is we call a plan. That plan gets transferred to the low levels of the car, the braking and the acceleration. To say we want to steer here, we want to brake here, we want to accelerate.
97% of all accidents are caused by human failure. So a forward-thinking vehicle which takes over a dedicated driving task would make the vision of accident and injury-free driving a reality.
Line up for a standard ACC run.
It will totally change the way we use our infrastructures and our roads, because now we can have cars running closer together, be more fuel efficient because they can drive optimally, much, much better than a human ever could.
You can use your time on a more productive way. Driving to the work, you can use the time to read the newspaper, look at your emails, to call your colleagues and be prepared when you arrive.
Bringing the people the benefits of automated driving in comfort and safety is good enough motivation for Bosch to go into this business. This technology is one of the most fascinating technologies. It's really cutting edge.
I can't can't even begin to think about the ways it's going to change the world in the future. It's going to be unbelievable.
Okay, so that were no actors. That is a team that is working on it, and I know very well, as most of them were working for me 10 years ago. The lady, Belén Aranda, she is Spanish, and what I want to say with this is that we do not care very much about nationality. Up to board, I have to say, what is a shame. Board level, we still have too many Germans, yeah? But they all promise this will change as well. But in the countries, if you go to a company as us, there is no limitation for whatever nationality you are. We do not care about that. On the other hand, we try very much to have nationals. So I'm just a failure standing here today in Korea, right? I should be a Korean. But we have on my level many senior Koreans as well in the country. Okay, I think I'm nearly at the end, right? Yeah, that we copied from the G20 Seoul at that time. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.